So I've made how many videos explaining that the moon is rolling because our axis shifted. I didn't say the moon's rolling ever, because it's not. You can't roll a ball and get the shadow to move. And obviously the shadow is moving. I have always said the Earth's axis shifted, making the sky roll. Always. Because that's what happened. Look, Lee discovered something. The local narc new video proves what I say. The moon does not roll 180 degrees. It just looks like it is because of our orientation and perspective. And he's going on saying, I have ever said the moon is rolling. It says doing a cartwheel because our axis shifted. That means our orientation changed. I've said that several hundred times over the last couple of years. And all of a sudden, Lee decides that he's an expert on it, even though he's got several videos. See Rimdog here? I met Rimdog over on BP Earthwatch and told him I'll go over there and open up BP and have 50 of his commenters open. And then if they got a video, they get a statement. That's how I met him. I said, look, BP's lying to you. I give you $1,000, you prove me wrong. Came over here, showed him the moon. It's rolling, everything. And the man looked. He looked and he learned. In 2 weeks, he came over here and told Lee what he learned. Lee pinned him up and said exactly. Now Lee's backtracking. He's, but it's funny. Yeah, it's not actually doing the physical moon. Our axis shifted, making the moon roll, Lee. Our axis shifted. Now, Lee, let's see if you can grasp this one. It appears to be rolling wax to wane every night. It used to appear to rise wax and set wax. It's confused, confounded. Isaiah 24:23. All of the stars in the sky are doing new tricks because our axis shifted. Orion rises on his back, rolls over, and fucking sets on his face 180 degrees because our axis shifted. You've been calling me names still today and making videos trying to prove it's not happening. You sat there and you made community posts all day long explaining how it only rolls a couple of degrees. And then you started fucking making videos with little fucking balls on a wire trying to prove it's not rolling 180 degrees. You threw Jesus on toast. You fucking misled your people for 2 years. You can't fool anybody into thinking that I ever said the moon's fucking rolling up there like a ball and it's taking its shadow with it because I'm stupid. No, I said the Earth's axis changed. And now the fucking moon's doing a cartwheel across the sky. That's a new trick. Have a good day, Lee. Oh boy. And this is why. They call this the polar vortex. It's a clockwise rotation. Coriolis effect says it shouldn't be here, and it never was before 2010. That was 12 years ago this began. This year, it took over the entire planet and started crushing our atmosphere down to the 3rd level, causing your Schumann frequency to be continually elevated. It is also causing the spaghetti monster up here that is our fucking jet stream, and it's pushing it to the ground. We're watching the ocean as a result bounce rogue waves. You ever heard of them? Just recently, because our atmosphere is being compressed by other magnets. This magnet pulled us on our side 10 years ago, started 12 years ago, October 2010, and began the moon doing a cartwheel. I noticed it because I had been driving the USS Texas all over this motherfucking globe, while other people was sitting on their fucking couch talking about how my third level geometry's off. Let me tell you something. Our axis shifted because a big clockwise rotation magnet called the polar vortex. Did you hear the weatherman talk about it every year for the last 12? Oh, and the polar vortex is a little bit stronger this year because it kept getting closer. It tilted us on our side and held us here for 12 years, making that moon do a cartwheel. Now, this year, we are surrounded by huge planets, which have obviously overridden the magnetics of Earth. As a result, I was telling in 2014 when we had one 5.0 quake a week, maybe, that we would have multiples per day. If I was right, and we live in a 3-sun system, and these things are getting closer. Well, now we're having 9 5.0s per day. We had 13 yesterday. Give it time. It's early. Now, I know in Canada, you guys got a lot less UV and shit going on up there, but you're not known for growing food and grain as much as we do down here. And our entire corn belt died for the last few years. These people have no grains for their cattle, and they already rolling out hay for them in summertime because the grass has died and it's burning down here. That's just where we're at today.
We've been talking with you guys on and off about the weather and how dry it is, how hot it is. And you guys, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. And today we wanted to just share with you that, it's easy for YouTubers, it's easy for people on social media to make everything look perfect all of the time, all roses. But you know what? Sometimes things get really hard and things aren't always easy. And it's not all great news on the homestead for every day.
Right. We've got a lot going on the homestead right now. We've shared a lot of it with you guys already. But today we want to kind of go around and show you some of the kind of hard things that are going on. Most of it has to do with the weather, but there are a few other things that have been going on as well we want to share with you guys. And we're not going to try to make this a doom and gloom video, but we do want to show you some of the owns the farm. And in past years, this time of year, I'm normally having to come out here with my bush hog and actually mow this grass down so that the cattle will continue to eat it when it's, about a foot tall. This year,
but it's been dying.
There is no grass. It's dead.
It's been dying.
It's brown.
It's been dying. Lots of people are noticing their fruits are hurrying up like speedy, way early ripening.
Gorgeous. But in the last 2 weeks since then, every day has been scorching hot, over 100 degrees. And even though we are watering every day now through our drip watering system, you guys, the garden is suffering so badly.
Farmers across the land are saying the same thing. I made a video the other day showing these guys watering their shit, and it's still dying.
Now, let's come on in. You can see we did put up poultry netting all the way around the garden because we started having problems with raccoons getting ripe watermelons, which actually it's way too early for ripe watermelons.
Way too early.
In the garden. I just want to touch on a few things. The first thing that I want to show you guys is that the sun is just decimating the tomato plants. Look at
My
these
tomatoes
leaves.
are
They're
inside,
sunburned,
and they're doing the
tomatoes
same thing.
themselves are getting sunburned.
They're growing in
one
the
thing that I'm
natural
noticing
sun.
throughout the entire garden, it's like the plants think it's the end of summer, and they're all trying to hurry up and ripen and produce their seeds so that they can die and be done for the season.
And that's not normal. My tomatoes are doing the same thing. They're getting about so big and then they go red. And it's like, what's going on? I know what's going on. We've got too many suns shining on them.
And I'll show you that a little bit more as we go through the garden. But this garden is so stressed out. These tomatoes, they're not getting bigger. They're just like all of a sudden ripening so they can finish out. And the taste and the flavor is not as good as previous years.
It's as if they're cooked by a microwave.
Kevin actually ate a tomato yesterday and was like, you know what, this tastes like a cooked tomato. They don't taste like fresh
Oh, they think so too.
Tomatoes anymore. They taste cooked. So these are all starting to ripen at once so that they can just be done with their life cycle. We're at the end of July. This should not be happening until September.
It shouldn't. None of it. Her squash are hollow. Her cucumbers are hollow. Just like the fucking vegetables we, Polly and I, have purchased here in the grocery store. The seeds are growing inside the squash, etc., etc., etc. There's nothing right about the gardens or the farms down here below the border of Canada this year.
These okra plants in previous years have been taller than me by this point, and they've just gotten tons of okra pods. But at the end of the season, normally they get a big bunch of okra pods and flowers right at the top. It's like in September or October, they decide they're done, and they produce just like a big bunch of okra flowers and okra pods. That's happening right now, and these things are so short. You see this like big bunch of, this is going to be flowers and pods. This is what happens here normally in September. We're not even in August yet, and these guys are acting like it's the end of the season and they need to hurry up and put on a whole bunch of flowers, a whole bunch of pods, make seeds, and just be done. You guys, the cucumber plants are surviving, but the cucumbers themselves, they taste terrible, and they're like hollow on the inside. We are watering every day in our drip irrigation system for an hour and a half, so it's not like they're not getting the moisture that...
It's not like they're not getting the moisture. When you see two rainbows with two different color spectrums, it's two different light sources. You've got too many microwaves hitting the fucking vegetation. The corn down here died at 2 foot tall. Her okra is 4 foot shorter than it should be. We got problems with the food, people. I don't give a fuck if Lee's farmer across the street from him is doing okay. Nobody else is. That guy that Lee was talking to ain't going to feed the world. The world, other than Canada, crops are failing.
Completely green to almost entirely ripe. Look at how yellow.
And their seeds will be sprouting inside of them. We've seen this widespread.
Well, these are almost entirely ripe. We're going to have to, I can smell them. I can smell them, and that means that these yellow ones are ripe. We're going to need to do a really fast harvest of a lot of these. Give some to Kevin's parents, cut and flash freeze a bunch of them for the freeze dryer. But this should be the prime time for these melons. They should look their best right now. They should still be putting on fruit.
And they're not. Nothing is going right in the garden down here below Canada. Get your fucking storage on, people.